Into the D2 Baseball Podcast. Robert Fry here today, joined with North Georgia head coach Nolan Belcher. Coach, how we doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How you doing?
Doing great, Coach. Get to have you on and talk about the program. So we'll start there. Give a little bit of a background about yourself, one, and then two, what led to this opportunity to you becoming the head coach at North Georgia?
Certainly. Originally from Augusta, Georgia. I'm a Georgia boy. Played collegiately over at the University of South Carolina in Columbia. Had a great experience. Played under some fantastic coaches. Had some fantastic teammates. Learned a lot and finished up playing baseball in 2013. And I jumped right into coaching. I spent 3 years over at USC Aiken as a pitching coach and recruiting coordinator. Then moved on over to Georgia College in my first stint in 2017 and 18. Spent 2 years there and then took it on down to Charleston at the College of Charleston. Spent 2 seasons down there as a volunteer coach, the 19 and 2020 season. So the second year was kind of cut short with the COVID stuff. I actually got to work for Chad Holbrook, who I played for at the University of South Carolina. So that was a great experience, learning under him. And then December of 2020, I got the opportunity to come back to Milledgeville and become the head coach at Georgia College. So I spent 5 springs in Milledgeville, and then most recently got hired this summer at the University of North Georgia, and super excited about the opportunity. It's first class up here all the way, and just ready to get it going.
And, with your now starting stint at North Georgia, what kind of core principles do you plan to emphasize, your first year there with the program?
Very fortunate that we get to take over a program with such strong foundation. Coach Cantrell has done a phenomenal job up here the last 26 years, and we're just going to try to continue and build on what he built. At the end of the day, we just want tough kids who want to work hard, be coached hard, and achieve at the highest level. Great teammates who do things the right way. And for us, it starts during the recruiting process. We feel like it's the easy part is identifying talented players. The tough part is identifying talented players who have the character and the work ethic and the core principles that we have. And then lastly, getting them on campus and getting them to show up. But super excited, and just want to reiterate how fortunate we are to take over a program with such a strong foundation.
And you mentioned, Coach Cantrell, and Coach Cantrell had just an everlasting legacy there at North Georgia. Ever since you took over, have you had conversations with him? And do you plan to kind of continue to have conversations with him, about kind of leading this program?
Yes, me and Coach Cantrell are very close. Known him ever since I joined the league back in 2014 at USC Aiken. Very big mentor of mine. Super fortunate and blessed that I get to take over the program that he built. And I know he's down in St. Augustine now, starting his next chapter of retirement. But I certainly hope he wants to stay close to the program and come back as much as he can. And hopefully we don't let him down.
And, within that too is, once you did take over, what was kind of the roster situation looking, and, what are some challenges in, filling out that roster once you did get hired on?
Great question. So I believe it was June 9th when I officially was hired, and I want to say we had about 23 players on the roster at that time. You're very familiar with the how college sports is nowadays. If you have a coach move on, a lot of kids will enter the portal and try to move on as well. And that's similar to what happened here at North Georgia. A lot of guys who could have returned, who played a lot last year, did enter the portal and have moved on to Division I schools. Other guys who had a significant amount of innings or at-bats graduated as well. So it was about 23 players. A few of them did play quite a bit last year. Matthew Hurd is returning on the mound for us. Edwin Bowman got quite a many at bats last year. Brady Skipper, Kyle Robich are all returning. But we did need to add many pieces. Can't have a college baseball team with 23 players. So we had a wave of visits and had to really get into the portal and get some players. And I feel like we did that pretty well. And we have 43 players now. And yeah, it was a whirlwind, to be honest, for about 3 weeks there in the summer. But that's just the way college sports is now. And you have to adapt and figure out a way to get the personnel you feel like you need. And I think we did a decent job of doing that.
And now to kind of transition on to kind of your Georgia college background, with especially the success that you had in 2024 with, a conference tournament championship, a super regional appearance. With your experience at Georgia College, how does that help you influence what you're going to do at North Georgia?
I feel like my time spent in Milledgeville can be very beneficial for the opportunity up here at North Georgia. It's in the same conference. It's in the same state. It is a different environment up here with some different opportunities to maybe get a higher caliber of player and then develop them at a higher level. We're very fortunate from a facility standpoint. We're not lacking very much up here, from tech, from turf field to an indoor facility to play site to synergy to stadium track man, portable track man, iPitch. From a developmental standpoint, I would be shocked if we don't have what players need, and if we don't have it, we can go out and get it. And that was a big part of my decision to come up here, and we're looking forward to getting a chance to work with these players throughout the fall and try to build something special.
And, you mentioned the facilities and kind of the technology, but kind of expand on, how excited are you to be able to, play at Bob Stein Stadium in Dahlonega?
I don't know if I can describe how excited I am about it. I mean, to be honest, every time we roll into the facility, myself and the assistant coaches just look at each other and say, man, this still seems like a dream that we get to work here every day. And I have never been a part of a turf field, so I'm still trying to get used to it, but it is very, very nice to not have to get on that drag or hula hoe or clay or mow field. Very, very fortunate. And to go back to the player development standpoint, I think it helps players become better because you know how it is. If you're on an all-natural field and guys want to come get some extra work on their own and they want to hit and maybe they get some rain for about an hour, then they're trying to pull out a grass saver, trying to get the batter's box maybe ready, or the throw-down mat got wet so you can't use it. Here, it could rain for 4 hours, stop, and then our guys are out there on a hack getting extra swings on their own. And that's just little things like that stack up over days and compound, and very, very, very fortunate.
And, speaking of very fortunate, we'll kind of transition a little bit to your playing career, part of a national championship program at South Carolina. What experiences did you learn from there that maybe you've applied into your coaching style?
Yeah, very, very blessed to be a part of those great teams at South Carolina and to play for some fantastic coaches, Ray Tanner, Chad Holbrook, as I mentioned earlier. Those guys are some of the best to ever do it. And I learned a lot. I was there for 5 years, redshirted in 2011. Was a part of the team in 2010 that won a national championship, 2011. And then 2012, we actually played for a third and came in second to Arizona. But there's certainly a lot of things that I took from my playing days and implement as a coach. But you have to transition year to year, and college sports looks a lot different now than it did 15 years ago. So many things have stayed the same, but also on the flip side, many things have changed, and you have to adapt and change over time. I think I've done that pretty good. I think the biggest thing that I learned during those great teams at South Carolina is just the team chemistry. And if you want to have a special year, the players have to lead, and you can't look to a coach to pull you along. You have to hold each other accountable as a team and within that locker room. And I think that's the biggest thing I learned from those championship seasons.
And within those as well, those seasons as a player, and then your coaching experience, kind of like, and you mentioned it earlier, like a lot has changed from when you played. What, especially recently, have you felt like that has changed a bunch from when you first started, playing in college and then coaching?
I think the biggest thing is the transfer portal and the opportunity for kids to leave or try to leverage financial stuff. That's the biggest thing, trying to navigate your roster from year to year or how you recruit. Back in the day, you recruited high school kids and then maybe you sprinkled in a few junior college guys, right? And it was pretty standard across the board. Maybe some programs went a little more junior college heavy than high school heavy. But now, you can go a lot of different routes to formulate your team from a personnel standpoint. Not to mention trying to retain your current players year to year and also help them make good decisions about their future, because I know many Division II programs might handle this differently, but for us at North Georgia, I want what's best for the players and their quality of life and what's best for their family. And if that's getting in the portal and moving on to a different school, then, I'm all for that. I'm not going to be a detriment to their experience or the opportunity they have to maybe get into a better situation. But I just hope they want to communicate to us and as a staff and be honest, and so we can help direct them and guide them and give them advice during the process.
And you mentioned, players and doing what's best for the players. In your eyes, what is kind of your vision to bring out the best in players in your program?
For me, to bring out the best in players, I think you have to challenge them. You have to hold them to a high standard. You have to hold them accountable. And you have to do that every day and communicate the standard, communicate the habits and behaviors that we were looking for as a program. And again, stay on them. They need that constant push every day. And I think we do an extremely good job of that. Very excited about the staff that we have here who assists with that. And again, for me, it always goes back to the recruiting process and trying to get the right type of kid, the right type of athlete, the right type of person. If you can do that and get them into your program, I think you can certainly build off of that. And
so not even that, but, we talk a lot about athletes, but, the role of the student athlete. And so the impact of the student side of things, what's that look like in your program?
These kids are coming to North Georgia to get a degree and to graduate in 4 years and go get a job. Not a, playing professional baseball is certainly an opportunity that you can get out of a Division II program. Andrew Zapata was a center fielder last year at North Georgia. He's with the Red Sox. We've had plenty of guys go on to play professional baseball, but like everybody says, very few and far between guys who are going to go and move on and do this for a living for 10 plus years. So you have to go to class. You have to get that degree. It's very, very important to us. If getting your degree is not important to you, coming to North Georgia is not going to be the right decision for you. Okay. That's what we tell all the recruits. Very simple. Go to class, sit in the front row, do your work, graduate in 4 years, and we'll get you on your way.
And now to kind of transition into the pitching side of things, with your pitching background, kind of talk a little bit about what your involvement is with the UNG pitching staff and how you plan to, maximize the potential of the pitching staff.
Yes, very involved. My previous years at Georgia College, probably not quite as involved as I would have liked, but at my previous school, we had a 3-man staff. So very difficult to be in many places at once. Fortunately, up here in North Georgia, we have a 5-man staff. So it's given me the opportunity to spend more time with the pitchers. We do have a pitching coach, Ryan Smith, who has been with us for the last 2 years at Georgia College, led our staff to that super regional run in 2024. Was a high-level pitcher at the College of Charleston when I was there. Got to coach him. So he runs the pitchers. I do try to help as much as I can when needed. And it's been nice because I have been kind of distant from the pitching over the last 5 to 7 years in my career. So it's nice to kind of get back down there and get under the hood with some of those guys and work with them as much as I can.
And you mentioned, having a 5-man staff. From a head coach's perspective, knowing that, there's a lot more administrative stuff than there is baseball stuff, how much does that help you with player development?
Indescribable. It's unbelievable to have not just a 5-man staff, but the 4 assistant coaches that we have. They're all unbelievable. They're unbelievable. We have a graduate assistant, Caleb Irwin, who played at the University of Mount Olive, great collegiate career. He is on year 2 of his master's degree with us. Our pitching coach, Ryan Smith, first-class human being from Kentucky, played junior college ball at Florence Darlington, a powerhouse, played collegiately after that at College of Charleston. Hayden Craig has joined us as our recruiting coordinator. Hayden is a very popular name in the state of Georgia as he spent 5 years over at Piedmont, Division III powerhouse in the state. Spent some time at Walter State. Most recently was up in Virginia at Longwood University. So he has joined us. And then Casey Brown is our associate head coach, who's been with me at Georgia College over the last, dating back 4 years, I guess, since his playing days. He runs the offense, coaches third base, is really a sleeping giant, in my opinion, as a coach and within the state from a recruiting standpoint, from a player development standpoint. He gets it done on a daily basis. And just like we tell recruits, I can't promise everybody that this coaching staff will stay together forever, but whoever I hire is going to be top-notch human beings. The baseball piece is easy to me, but finding people who can do the baseball and who are also high character guys is very difficult to find. And all 4 of those guys are first-class human beings, and I couldn't be more thankful for them. And our players are super fortunate to have guys like that surround them on a daily basis.
And to kind of transition from there about high character, we kind of go to the conference, that you have a lot of experience in the Peach Belt Conference. Kind of talk a little bit about, the, I guess, excitement of the Peach Belt Conference with another team now.
I love this league. I really do. I've spent a lot of time in it. Extremely competitive league. The region itself is just a gauntlet every single year. But there's a lot of rivalries and there's a lot of parity year to year. It will be a little unique being at a different university because I've spent so much time in Milledgeville, but excited about it, looking forward to it. We understand it's going to be competitive every single year and just looking forward to the challenge.
And, speaking of looking forward to the challenge, there obviously it's a high bar given their recent 40-win season, but, to the fans of North Georgia, the community, fans of Division II baseball, what should we expect out of North Georgia this upcoming season?
We'll be extremely competitive. We'll work every day to try to, like I mentioned, build on what Coach Cantrell has built here and just try to move it forward in the right direction every single year. And we got a long ways to go. We're certainly not where we want to be. Like I tell the players, we're not great yet, but hopefully we're well on our way. and we'll be competitive. To what extent, I have no idea. We'll figure that out come May or June. But certainly looking forward to the challenge of competing in this great conference and in this great region.
And the final question I have for you, Coach, is, you talk about having high character guys, and you must have learned it from somewhere. So, you kind of mentioned some of the people that impacted your career as a coach, but kind of expand on that a little bit of, people who have impacted your life to get to where you are today.
Oh, I don't know if we have enough time for that. I guess it starts with my upbringing and my family. Very fortunate to be raised by two great humans who instilled some great values in me and really what's important in life. And it kind of carried with me throughout my whole career, from middle school, I was around some great coaches, high school over at Greenbrier High School in Georgia or over in Augusta, and Ed Williams, Rodney Holder, back in high school. And then to my days at South Carolina with Coach Tanner and Coach Holbrook. And at the end of the day, wins and losses, they're going to happen, but your experience is going to come from those relationships, and what really lasts is relationships. And it's tough to have those long lasting relationships with bad people, right? Nobody wants to be a part of that. And I know I'm still kind of, I'm not extremely seasoned when it comes to college coaching. This will be my 12th year, but I've learned quickly that one, it's very difficult to win the big game late in the year with bad people. And it's not fun winning with bad people. It's much more enjoyable, and the experience is better for everybody if we're all pulling the rope in the same direction. We're all working hard. We all have the same vision and goal, and we hold each other accountable, and for me, it's that simple. I do this because I enjoy the competition. I enjoy being around the players and trying to help them develop on and off the field. And that joy gets taken away if I'm surrounded by a group of people, so we hold that very close to our heart here. I spend a lot of time on that during the recruiting process, trying to find red flags in kids. I'm trying to find a reason not to recruit them. My assistants can go find the good players, and then I'm going to come in and try to find reasons not to recruit them from a character standpoint. And I feel like if we can stack recruiting classes year in and year out, you'll end up with a quality locker room. And we're fortunate to have a great locker room right now, inherited a great program with a great foundation. So just very blessed, very appreciative, and looking forward to practice today.
Sounds great, Coach. Coach Belcher, sincerely appreciate you coming on to chat and talk about, your experiences in the North Georgia program, and looking forward to seeing how this team competes in the spring.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time today and the opportunity.
And that is head coach Nolan Belcher at North Georgia.
We'd like to give a big thank you to all of our regional tier Patreon members. We couldn't make it to the 9th inning without the support of all of you. You're the real MVPs, hitting a home run for the team every single time. Thank you.